Yeah, honestly, I've been working really hard to get back to full health, and I feel like probably over these last couple of weeks is when I've probably started feeling my best. Obviously, my ankle kind of.
Everyone believed she would save the franchise when she was drafted. However, nobody anticipated this. The most anticipated rookie in basketball, only a few months into her career, history was already preparing for her departure. Fans saw the eye rolls right away, the large stature and the utterly indifferent demeanor on the floor. However, the true drama was taking place, where the cameras would never be able to get. Whispers in the locker room indicate a broken relationship that has completely collapsed, resulting in one of the most intense power clashes this league has ever witnessed. With a generational superstar poised to lead a losing club to championship glory, it started out as a dream setting. Rather, it swiftly descended into a poisonous jumble of enormous egos and alleged punishments in the locker room. In the meantime, a coaching staff appeared to have no idea how to deal with the problem they had just inherited. Nobody anticipated an open conflict between a top player, but everyone anticipated some growing pains, as well as her own coaching staff. Officially, tensions have reached a breaking point, and persistent reports lead to a large. The ultimatum was presented directly to the front desk. However, in order to fully comprehend how circumstances became so dire, and you have to go back to the moment she set foot on professional hardwood to see how quickly everything happened. Indiana was meant to be a basketball haven where a local star could easily develop into a world-class player, sports legend. Instead, the harsh reality struck like a freight train, revealing a profound disaster within the company that sold off audiences. Couldn't hide. The excitement surrounding her debut was totally unparalleled. Private charter flights were introduced, enormous broadcast viewership, and a level of international attention this league had never experienced before. You would think that any club given this kind of opportunity would go above and beyond to capitalize on her skills, safeguard her at all costs, and provide a structure that would allow her to take over right away. However, what we witnessed on national television, it was a complete opposite week after week. It demonstrated outdated coaching and was a masterclass in complete mishandling. Employees are frantically attempting to fit a revolutionary player into an antiquated, oppressive system. This gap was far larger than a small bump in the road. The most anticipated career was in danger of being destroyed by a huge collision of basketball ideologies in the history of sports before it even began. Additionally, the first indications of this collapse did not even begin with the playbook. They began with the way her teammates responded to their star being physically attacked on the court. It's typically difficult to make the transition from college to professional ranks, but this rookie's physical abuse was excessive, revealing a serious flaw in the leadership of her own squad. Other teams weren't merely putting up a fierce physical defense. By employing forceful traps, harsh fouls, and full-court pressure to totally frighten the novice. Because of all the media attention she received, veterans in the league felt utterly insulted. Every night on the floor, they vented their rage on her face, ankles, and ribs. Everyone in the audience anticipated her. Teammates to unite, act as enforcers, and defend their beloved player at any costs. In any other sport, to ensure that it doesn't happen again, the entire bench clears whenever a competitor takes a cheap shot at the franchise star. Rather, supporters were completely taken aback by the coaching staff's passivity throughout these nighttime beatings. The head coach did not holler at the referees during the worst hits. Instead, she simply stood there with her arms crossed. She didn't support her player and didn't make any changes to penalize the physical defense. Sometimes she was shoved. Long after the whistle rang, her bench remained silent and went straight to the floor. The post-game news conferences became extremely awkward, with coaches providing dull responses about having to play harder, essentially accusing the youngster of not being able to handle the pro's physical play. For a player accustomed to a college program, this complete lack of support seemed like a huge betrayal. Based only on mutual protection and strong confidence, IT wasn't simply a physical issue to leave her unguarded. The initial seeds of intense animosity were sown by a mental strain. She was enduring the physical abuse, For the league's unexpected financial surge, enduring criticism from envious veterans only to turn to a bench that seems completely indifferent to her suffering. However, the physical assaults were only the beginning. As a much larger, every time they took the court to execute an offensive play, a deeper issue was developing. The actual problems began in the blueprint, where two diametrically opposed basketball philosophies collided in a catastrophic way. On one side, you had a revolutionary guard whose entire strategy was based on deep transition threes, lightning-fast breaks, and a fluid approach that relied on her exceptional court vision and mastery of improvisation. She didn't merely engage in the game. She worked with it, scanning lanes that passed by and scoring views that no one else in the building could see. Conversely, there was a head coach who was firmly committed to traditional, tough defense and a strict system that required complete structural control and leisurely half-court sets. IT was like putting a Ferrari engine in a tractor and wondering why it was unable to succeed on the racetrack. Fans watching complete shock as the offense faded night after night. During the most crucial possessions, the rookie's hands are frequently removed from the ball. Plays created from the sidelines appear to be intended to limit rather than release her, resulting in excruciating, aggravating periods where she stood as a decoy in the corner as less productive teammates forced awful shots that IT was difficult for her to be frustrated, to conceal themselves as frigid glares, shaking heads, and thrown-up hands flashed at the bench following shattered plays. The coaching staff's concept was swiftly dismantled by national television analysts, reminding out that they were totally neglecting to use the most lethal weapon they had ever been provided. A timeout would be called each time the rookie attempted to run at a faster speed, destroying all momentum in an instant to set up a half-court play that is plodding and highly predictable. The gap was enormous, and it was inevitable that this subdued annoyance would erupt into public indignation. This wasn't your average rookie developing pains. It was a methodical throttling of precise abilities that turned her into a worldwide celebrity in the first place. And the events that followed behind closed doors would drastically alter the season and drive this partnership that has reached its limit. Soon after, whispers started to come from the building where the filming took place, and team meetings had become extremely hostile battlegrounds. The rookie, well known for her exceptional basketball skills, apparently stopped biting her tongue and began directly criticizing the lack of changes. To her coaches, insiders reported that she had pointed out the critical weaknesses in their spacing during heated confrontations, their completely predictable plays, as well as the complete insanity of operating a plodding half-court offense with a roster designed IT is extremely forbidden for rookies to challenge an experienced head coach, but this was no typical rookie. The league's whole financial future rested on the shoulders of Star. She was aware that the offense had been committed. She reportedly wanted better plans that didn't leave her stuck with nowhere all the time because she knew the fans could see it to pass. The coaching team was providing her with full court pressure and blitzes at a distance of 94 feet. There is no tactical relief. Screens were not being set to release her. There was no off-ball movement designed to penalize those who were hostile. Protective traps, and she was essentially instructed to use her own judgment to defeat the strongest defenders on Earth. This degree of tactical questioning is necessary for a staff that is eager to create authority and demonstrate that they are in command, was a terrible hit to their self-esteem. Rather than working with their generational hero, listening and modifying the playbook, according to reports, coaching leadership perceived this as a direct challenge to their authority. They were committed to demonstrating there, because the system was much larger than any one individual. Pride took precedence in a poisonous ego conflict over winning basketball games in real life. The coaches believed they needed to make a strong statement about returning to rest, control of the locker area, resulting in a highly contentious choice that would shortly break the internet and start a huge media frenzy. Experts and supporters were completely perplexed when the team star had her minutes abruptly limited in the closing seconds of close games, all under guise of flimsy justifications of foul difficulty, exhaustion, or poor defensive pairings. The franchise star was benched by the coaches just when they most needed her. In several instances, the offense was in dire need of a spark after going utterly frigid in the fourth quarter.